are talking ribs today, specifically the 3-to-1-to-1 method for smoking ribs. So let's get right to it. In a nutshell, you smoke ribs uncovered for 3 hours, then wrap them in foil with a little liquid, beer, apple cider, etc. for 2 hours, and finally unwrapped for 1 more hour. Besides the obvious numeric poetry of the name, the method produces ribs of remarkable moistness and tenderness. Ribs that most people will devour with pleasure. I've always felt a little uncomfortable serving 3-2-1 ribs. They're almost too good. Namely, they're so tender they almost seem mushy, and so moist they almost taste steamed, which in a sense they are, because 2 hours of cooking wrapped in foil with liquid comes dangerously close to steamed ribs. In competition barbecue, the ribs cannot fall off the bone and must be able for the judge to take a bite. The 3-1-1 method is what we use for our competition style ribs. After thinking long and hard about the 3-2-1 method, I realized the problem. The math is all wrong. The cooking time is way too long. What you want is the 3-1-1 method, which doesn't sound as catchy but produces ribs that are vastly more satisfying. The 3-1-1 method is designed for spare ribs. You smoke them uncovered for 3 hours, then wrap them in foil for 1 hour, then finish unwrapped for 1 hour. For baby back ribs, cut the first smoke down to 2 hours. So 2-1-1 for baby backs. If you own a grill or smoker, ribs are the reason you bought the darn thing in the first place. Okay, maybe that was brisket, pork butt, and steaks, and ribs come in a distant second. And while any idiot can throw a rack of ribs on a grill, few turn out fall off the bone good. That's because ribs require special care and attention. First, you have to choose wisely, buy quality, and trim them properly. Then you have to cook them slowly, low and slow, never letting the internal temperature rise above 225 degrees Fahrenheit, lest you end up with something resembling pot roast rather than barbecue. Because ribs dry out easily, you have to keep them wall-to-wall medium rare. Last, you need to know when they're done, which is not necessarily when they hit a magic temperature. Let me explain. I've been barbecuing for more than 30 years. I've smoked hundreds of racks of ribs, and I love nothing more than helping others make their very best ribs. So think of this video as an extension of my backyard. When you buy ribs, there are 3 basic cuts to choose from. Baby back ribs are smallish, narrow, and pretty trim. They contain mostly lean meat and little fat, so they dry out fast and need careful monitoring. Next comes spare ribs, larger, wider, and fattier. These stay wall-to-wall medium, rare longer, which makes them easier to cook. Spare ribs are the ones I use to introduce new barbecuers to the joys of smoking meat. The third cut is the plate of short ribs. These are huge, thick, and also quite fatty. Best to leave these to the pros or experienced pitmasters, unless you have a whole team of helpers to tend the ribs constantly. The 3 basic methods of cooking ribs are baking, braising, and brothing. We're going to concentrate on smoking, which gives ribs their signature flavor and texture. To get started, lay the ribs flat on the counter, meat side up, and locate the thin membrane that covers the bone side of the ribs. Try peeling it off with a piece of paper towel. It should come off fairly easily. If it doesn't, use the flat edge of your chef's knife to help pry it loose. If you leave the skin on, it acts like saran wrap, impeding the absorption of smoke and spices. Next, apply your favorite rub. I'm partial to my Papa's Peach Rib Rub, which contains paprika, brown sugar, onion powder, garlic powder, celery seed, cayenne pepper, peach tea, salt, and black pepper. Apply the rub liberally, rubbing it firmly into the ribs with the back of your hand, palm, and fingers. This helps loosen the subcutaneous tissue, allowing the bark to form more evenly. Let the ribs rest at room temperature for at least an hour or 2 before cooking. This lets the salt in the rub draw some of the moisture from the surface of the meat, resulting in a thicker bark. And here's a pro tip. Take a clean, dry towel and wipe off the excess spice. Now the ribs are ready to smoke. If you're using wood chips, soak them in water for at least 30 minutes, then drain. Wood chunks don't need soaking. Arrange the ribs on the grill or smoker rack, bone side down, and place the rack in the smoker. If you're using a charcoal grill, don't crowd the ribs. If you're smoking several racks at once, use a rib rack. Close the lid and immediately begin adding fuel, whether it be charcoal, wood pellets, wood, or gas. Maintain a constant supply of smoke, replenishing the fuel every 15 to 20 minutes. Remember, you're trying to keep the internal temperature in the smoker or grill between 225 and 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Don't let it go above 250 degrees Fahrenheit or you risk drying out the ribs. Also, remember to replenish water as needed to prevent the ribs from drying out. You can add moisture by mopping, but repeated opening and closing of the lid compromises the temperature stability. Here's where you need to flex your barbecue intuition. While ribs can be timed, a particular rack may need more or less time on the grill. Here are some guidelines. For spare ribs, after 3 hours of smoking, increase the foil for the next hour. For baby back ribs, after 2 hours of smoking, increase the foil for the next hour. All the following instructions are based on cooking with foil. If you prefer to mop every half hour for the first 90 minutes. Then increase the foil for the last hour of cooking. For baby back ribs, after 2 hours of smoking, carefully remove the ribs from the smoker or grill and replace the lid to avoid heat loss. Place each rack, meat side down, on a line of brown sugar and a light line of honey and butter on a piece of heavy-duty aluminum foil and bring up the sides. If desired, pour 1/4 cup of apple cider, beer, ale, or other flavorful liquid on top of the bones and dot with thin slices of butter. Bring the edges of the foil together and fold to make a tight package. Return to the smoker or grill and cook for 1 hour. You no longer need to add smoking chips or chunks or wood to the grill or smoker. However, you may need to replenish the water. Remove the ribs from the smoker or grill and carefully open the foil package. Wear heat-proof food gloves to avoid steam burns. Using tongs, lift the ribs from the foil. Discard the foil. Reserve the juices if desired and boil them down to make a glaze. Don't bother if you're only doing 1 or 2 racks. At this point, you can test the ribs for doneness. The meat will have shrunk back from the ends of the bones by ½ an inch. And when you lift the rack with tongs under the center, the meat on top will begin to split. If the ribs aren't done, return them to the smoker or grill for 15-minute increments. Once the ribs are done, it's time to finish them off. If desired, dust the ribs lightly with more rub and return to the smoker or grill, meat side up, or to the grill rack. Cover and continue to cook for 1 hour. If you're using barbecue sauce, put it on during the last 15 minutes of cooking, or you can save the sauce for serving. Please note that sweeter sauces burn easily, so watch them carefully. To serve, remove the ribs from the grill or smoker. If they're not sauced, pass the sauce on the side. Cut the ribs into individual portions and eat up. Bottom line, the success of ribs like brisket, pork shoulder depends on intuition. Use the above formulas as guidelines, recognizing that a particular rack of ribs might need more or less time on the grill. Be flexible. If the ribs are done before your guests arrive, loosely wrap them in foil and stow them in an insulated cooler until serving time. If you have questions about this video, leave us a comment and we will get back to you. If this is your first time or you have not subscribed, please do so and leave us a like. Thank you all for watching and happy barbecuing.